While we can't guarantee certain results for every sales organization that works with Rise Up Consulting, we wanted to share some insights as to what some of the immediate results that they had in some of the numbers, people, retention, culture. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next video series. So initially, Scott, when you gave feedback, you said that it helped with the leaders' confidence. So in what ways did you see that? So the leaders who participated, how did you see their confidence?
Definitely throughout like the initial onboarding for their reps coming in to work with them. There's a lot more confidence there. Like we had the numbers to back up what we were doing and why we were doing things. So there was a lot there, and just I think that by going through and doing this training, they felt like we had their back, because we invested time into them.
I think just them knowing that we expected more from them, I think helped them too, by, putting responsibilities on them that previously is something that we were doing. Just gave them confidence that, that we trusted them with this decision.
A lot of times leaders don't realize how they're breaking trust when they're simply just trying to help people on their team of, hey, let me take this burden for you. But when you do things and don't empower them to do it, you do break trust. And they don't feel confident that they can do it when you do it. Let's get to the fun stuff. What sort of happened to some of your numbers initially? So within the first year after taking this program?
Yeah, within the first year, we're usually hoping for like 20-25% growth is what we were hoping for year in, year out. And our first year after completing this, we completed it in the fall, and then our first full year, we had 40% growth. So that was pretty amazing. We felt pretty good about the decision we made after that, and we definitely felt more organized and ready for the next chapters for sure. Numbers wise, we went from 7.5 to 10.8 million raised for high school groups and athletics. Then the next year we went from 10.8 all the way up to 19.4. So that was a huge jump for us. That was like 79% growth in that year. And a lot of that was, now we had a plan on how to train leaders, and we knew way back when we were trying to grow that this was always going to be a bottleneck for us, because we had good salespeople, but we needed good leaders to get the next generation.
If you don't have good leaders, then, anyone can hire a bunch of salespeople, but, if you don't have leaders that can train them and teach them to be successful, then you're just in that cycle of, now we're hiring their replacements.
To go from 10 to 19, that you're doubling, right? You're doubling. How did that feel? Because I feel a lot of times in sales, growth feels bad. Like you're excited about the result, but you're just grinding it out, and it's kind of like, do anything you can, work really hard. And I know there was a lot of hard work, but statistically, the more growth an organization has, the more stress that people are under. How do you feel because the leaders were equipped? I know there was probably stressful moments in that growth, but how was the experience overall?
I don't think that was the way that we felt about that at all. It was, we had some goals in mind. Our goal was to get to $15 million that year, and then our goal was to get to $18 million, as we saw that was going to be pretty achievable. And then we finished up at 19.4, and I don't think any of our leaders were incredibly taxed by that. So I felt like it was a celebration at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think throughout we kind of planned for it and started to put things in place, in terms of infrastructure to kind of handle the growth. We've built a pretty good infrastructure that, enables us to grow without, maybe as many pain points.
In initial feedback, it was stated that this wasn't just I'm participating in this program. It forced action. You put systems into place. What do you think would have happened if you didn't invest in leadership development?
I don't think we would have had to worry about the problem of how we're going to grow that fast. I really don't think we'd be at the same numbers. And if we did have that same growth, it would just be all reactionary versus, like Todd was saying, we planned ahead for the infrastructure. we knew we were going to have X number of dollars in sales, you know, and then we had to adjust as it got closer. But we had to put people in place in order to handle that. But without that, I don't think we would have planned ahead. I don't think we would have had the time to. It would have just been scrapping by here and there.
You know, things that helped us is, you know, me and Scott, we're kind of always looking forward to, like, what can we do to improve what we're doing, you know, and that's why we probably jumped into, that's why we jumped into technology, you know, 2.5 years before everyone else in the industry, and, you know, jumped into like infrastructure, jumped into leadership, you know, and looking at ways that we can, you know, improve and, you know, keep evolving, you know, as a company.